Hello everybody and welcome to D Street. My name is Dominica. I am a major league eater and the host of D Street Eats, and this is the video that everyone has been waiting for. This would have been my Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Contest live show had we had the ability to go live. And I know, we wanted to watch me on ESPN, but ESPN is good too. That's like a close second. So usually I let you watch the video with the sound, but I thought this would be better to do a commentary over it. The first thing you can see me do is shake my head. Every year there are Nathan hot dog mustard bottles, and so I had asked about that. I was the only one in the history to ask about that. I defined the rules on it, when to squeeze it, when to open the bottle, etc. And this was the first year that there was no mustard. So the first thing I note is that I laugh a little and then I move on. So this is me getting ready. Honestly, from this angle, I should have kept my hair like this, but I saw it in the shadow and I did not like it at all. So I pinned it a little further. There are a couple of things I want you to look at and keep in mind during the contest or before and after the contest. And it's the similarity between Mickey and myself. We kind of act the same. We almost eat the same way, but the way we get in our zone, even afterwards, and we'll talk about that during the commentary, even afterwards when we felt something was off, we literally have the same mannerisms, and I love that. Another thing you should know is that she had a live show herself on her. So she had like a personal cam, Mickey cam, and Angel, this woman, I was obsessed with her. She literally brings me in to say hi to the chat. Earlier that day, I had a panic attack. Like, I was literally frozen. And the mom energy that she has, just she came over immediately and snapped me out of it, truly. I even like my body relaxed completely. Like, I held on to her like my body just relaxed. Like, so she was really kind of my go-to person for almost all of the good energy and vice versa. So shout out to her. But I had just told her I had never done this without my security blanket, which is my live show or my dolphins. And she was just like, it's okay, watch. Her bringing me over to her live show was just indicative of who she is as a person. Like, don't worry, you have a security blanket. It's just not next to you kind of thing. So shout out to her. I know this entire time I've been pouring 7-Up and you're like, there's no way you drink that much. There isn't, but I totally thought I was going to drop the 7-Up. Like, there was going to be one cup that I drop. And do you see that? I almost dropped it again. Like, how klutzy. But anyway, so I was just making sure. This is me in my little stands that I do. I just kind of calm down, kind of like take it all in. I like looking at the crowds. I actually kind of calm down a little bit more when I see more people. So the more people there are, the less nervous I am. And this is something that Mickey and I had talked about before. It was like, the hardest part is everything before, but get me on stage with the food, I'm fine. So this is, I think she's about to grab me. Yeah, she's like secretly, she's like, come over here. Yeah, truly an honor to eat beside her. You can see that her and I are kind of just like set. We're speaking to ourselves, which I thought was funny. I didn't even know she did that until I watched the playback. We're kind of speaking to ourselves, my little phrase that I do. And then just everyone is getting ready. Everyone's getting pumped. There is one point where one of the cups fly, and I didn't want it to hit my competitor to the left, so I ended up putting that cup underneath one of my own. I don't know about anyone else, but for me, this is just way too many drinks for me anyway. I don't go through that much water. But luckily for me, I did come prepared, because you're gonna see while I eat that I really did need all that water. So without further ado, the contest is about to start. There we go. And we're off. You didn't see the almost full start that I had. That was kind of funny. Thank God I didn't touch the dog. Oh, I can sleep at night. But that was kind of funny. An arm was in the way. But I remember it very clearly. I was like, oh, did I just false start? Anyway. So the first thing that happens is I realize that these hot dogs are just not biting. I cannot chew this. They're not breaking down. So in my head, before I even think of a strategy, I'm just continuing my own strategy, which is get the buns wet to soak for the thing. And this is when I decide I'm just going to swallow these things like pills. I do not recommend that. This is going to have a disclaimer on it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to break it down enough and then swallow these like little pills. And then we'll get it down in some capacity. While I'm doing this, I'm the one who notices that the buns look kind of bigger than the last time, or the ones that I've been used to or practicing with. And I'm going to find that out when I make the first hot dog bun cake. So the first plate for me should have gone down in 1:30. And right now I make the bun cake and realize it's almost double the size. So I split it in half and I just keep going. Right now, this is the first plate, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to slow me down. So in my head, I was going for 35 to 40. And I know you're like, D Street, there's no way. Okay. Well, anyway, in my head, I was like, okay, 35, right? And then right now I'm realizing this is going to take too long. And so I'm going to divide that by 2. And this is all in the first plate. And it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. And this is where I feel like Mickey and I are the same person. It's a feeling. Like we both, even in the end, there's something wrong. There's definitely not just 21 hot dogs in me, right? It's kind of like a feeling. So right now I'm like, okay, I've got to cut my number in half. I'm going to probably hit 17 or 18. And if I really force myself, I'm going to go for the 22, 23. So the first plate I was in my head. So the first plate I was very aware. And then by the second plate, I'm just like, you know what is what it is. And I just get out of my head and I just kind of do my little dance. To describe the hot dogs. So they taste really good, by the way. Everyone always asks, what do they taste? They taste really good. And so it doesn't give me food fatigue like other foods would, or other meats would. And again, Nathan's hot dog, like every time you talk about them, everyone talks about how good they taste. So that wasn't the problem. The problem is like they are natural casing. And so when it's a natural casing, if they're overcooked or in the sun, they just become a little bit harder. And so that's why those were harder to chew. But honestly, they didn't set me back as much as those buns did. And I'm sorry, like hot dog bun cake be damned. It takes longer to eat. So it's not even a capacity thing. And speaking of capacity, I know people always ask me about it. So for me, in about a 10-minute span, I can probably get around 7.5 to 8.5 pounds. That's just from former challenges I've done and from just our mukbangs that we do, stuff like that. So I knew that in like 10 minutes, I could probably get like 7.5 to 8 pounds. I actually pushed myself for this. It was like more of like, I felt like 9 pounds in me, in my honest opinion. But anyway, you can see that Mickey is feeling exactly what I felt on that first plate. And we'll talk about it closer to the end of the contest because it was, again, like it's just like the same person, different fonts. We both backed up, like, count those plates again. Like, we knew that the plates were correct. We knew the count was correct. It just did not feel it. Like, something was wrong. And I remember her saying, like, something was wrong. I was like, it's the buns. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But I can see why she was upset because she did want to beat her record. But anyway, so now back to the bun cake. Okay, so now you can see I'm on kind of like my second plate, but you can see how long it's taking me to break this bun cake down. It was not spongy. I know people kept saying that it was spongy. For me, the bread was not spongy. It was just a lot of the bread. So right now I'm on my second plate and it almost feels like I was on my third plate. That's how I'm feeling right now. And I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. I want to show you, there is one part of the contest I thought was really funny. Sorry for the shaking. Turbulence on D-Flightful. Everyone who, if you're new to D Street, keep your arms and legs inside the aircraft at all time. So we had a little bit of turbulence with that camera, my bad. Anyway, I will say this, on the third plate, so from the 10 to the 15, I remember those two right there. I remember looking at them like, this is going to hurt. Like, this is going to hurt, and I'm just going to have to brace myself. And to be honest, I don't think the sport gets enough credit. I know Michelle told me a story about her winning an oyster contest. And when she told me the story, I thought, that's crazy, where she was basically like cutting up her chin just to win. And she won, pop off queen, but it's just, they don't give this sport enough credit. Back to the contest. Okay, so from 10 to 15, I was like bracing myself. And then from 15 to 20 was really a push. Like, I don't even remember it, kind of. Like, it was one of those situations where I was just so in the zone to try to beat 17 because I had already told myself on the first plate that I had to cut my number in half. So once I passed that third plate, I think to myself, oh, I might be able to get 20. And that kind of pushes me into it. At this point, the only thing I can think of is the two counters in front of me getting my number right. But like I remember them saying the number, and again, just same person, different fonts. I remember them saying the number and thinking, there is no way. There has to be a plate missing, because I know how I feel. Like I'm going to keep the ending so you can hear it. Like I won't be commentating on the end of this video so you can watch the last, like the contest end and what happens. But in my head, I'm thinking there's no way. Like it's just like a feeling thing, and it's just hard to explain. But yeah, it either like I was taking too long, but the feeling, right? So I was just like, there's no way. There has to be one more plate. And I remember finishing that third plate, going on to my fourth plate, and I was like literally counting. I was like trying to count the plates myself. So it's just kind of one of those things where when you are an athlete, you're kind of just aware of your body and you are aware of like the feelings. And this is me just trucking along. So here we go. And for those of you who are like, why Diet 7-Up? Hey, listen, I didn't know our sponsor was Coca-Cola. I would have brought Diet Sprite, okay? I didn't know that. Matter of fact, why didn't they provide the Diet Sprite? I like Sprite. But yeah, it just makes the buttons taste sweet, and I really like sweet things. I will say, though, that a lot of people were like, but what about the carbonation? I actually untwisted them beforehand, so they got kind of flat, or at least flat enough. Not the little bottle, but the big bottle, definitely, and that's the one that I was using. But yeah, so there was a little bit flat. It wasn't like carbonated as much as you would think. This actually is killing me watching Mickey like this, because I know she's probably feeling what I felt. And in the end, you will see, we both literally stop what we're doing, like count those plates. I remember I felt like such an athlete. I was like, can you count my plates again? Can you fan out my plates? And Sam was like, D, you're done. And I was like, okay. Can you imagine? I get red carded out the game. Anyway, so at this point, I think that I'm neck and neck with Michelle in my head, because I didn't know her number at this point, but I remember one of my counters said something and I thought, oh, I might be close to her. And so many people came up to me at the after party, like, were you even trying? I was. So what happens at the end is actually pretty indicative of who I am as an athlete and what I plan on doing for the future. It's going to be very important for my Dolphins, especially. But what's good to know before I reveal what my strategy was in the last minute or so, we all had a meeting the night before. It was a team meeting to go over the rules and how they were going to enforce them this year. They were going to be very strict on the rules. There were a couple of things. The first thing is that there were no touching of the mouth at the contest end. You could not touch your mouth. You could drink water at the end, but you could not touch your mouth. And the second thing is that they were going to be very strict on swallowing everything you were chewing 30 seconds after the contest ended. And at the end, I hit capacity, and I was breaking all of them up by halves, because I thought, like, because you can count by halves, so if you eat half a dog, right, kind of thing. And I was practicing eating a half a hot dog in 5 seconds. So I knew if I had 5 seconds left, I could eat half a hot dog. And if I pushed myself, I thought maybe I can do a whole hot dog, but I did not. And this just is because I'm a rookie. I just did not think that I would be able to swallow it in 30 seconds or refrain from touching my face. And I was petrified of being disqualified at all. So, and like the whole day, and shout out to all these people, like Sam is my boy. I literally went downstairs before we went on the bus, like, does my costume meet dress code? Like, I was just so nervous about that. And so I almost kick myself for not pushing myself even further, but it is what it is. And I'm actually pretty proud of my performance, and you'll see the rest of it now.
31 for Mickey Sudo, 21 for Domenica D. Ladies and gentlemen, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put down your hot dogs. Put down your hot dogs.